Being gay and transgender in the hospital waiting room. No one wants to be here, but we all are here, no matter our sexualities, gender identities, etc. Health concerns do not discriminate. Eventually, we all end up here at some point in our lives, a collective human experience of fragility, vulnerability, and the need for care and compassion. The air vent continues to blow, the rattling echoing through the room as numerous straight couples check in together. I continue to wait. It will only be a little over 2 hours longer while I wait for my partner in the hospital waiting room after his procedure. It's 6:45 a.m. The medical waiting room seating area is open. All 4 people, one by one, as they walked in at different intervals, chose to sit across from my seating row rather than in it, forming quite literally a gay seating row versus a straight seating row. And out of the heterosexual's discomfort, not that of my own, in case you were wondering, you can actually sit by someone like me and nothing bad will happen to you. I'm gay and trans. Those aren't diseases that someone can catch. However, the seating strategy of the heterosexuals in this very waiting room would make it appear as if that's how they walk through the world, scared of gay trans people. So I must be hyper terrifying because I'm both, right? Still, in this medical waiting room, it seems that is the level of ignorance energetically directed at me. At the same time, I sit across from these people who are insecure about my presence, but I'm not about theirs. I don't understand their unspoken discomfort, homophobia, and transphobia, because as a gay transgender man, I encounter heterosexual people daily, and I'm not at all afraid of you all. Think about it. How often do you hear any gay people going out of their way to exclude and or offend heterosexual people? Not much, because we don't have that much hate and or agenda about to run the lives of others in us while we are out here living our lives. I'm not at all uncomfortable around heterosexual people because, simply put, we are all humans. Even in the hospital waiting room, one of the most vulnerable places, it seems homophobia lives because it thrives in society when there is anti-gay and anti-trans propaganda. The irony here is that in all waiting rooms, they play the gayest of music. Since I've been here waiting for my partner, I've heard quite a few gay greats, like George Michael, Luther Vandross. I could go on and on. Gay entertainment culture is actively integrated and welcomed into such spaces as hospital waiting rooms. Still, overall, it seems that the actual humanity of gay people is not. When the waiting room begins to fill and people have nowhere else to sit, they'll sit by me in the gay row. I can feel the unease of their energy around me. That creepy energy I feel next to me, it's homophobia. It's transphobia, which both translate to hate. Yes, I can pick up on the hateful energy of homophobes and transphobes, try as hard as they may, but they still can't mask it in public. My radar for hate is solid at this point. My figurative muscle of discernment is well developed. If there's one thing in this world a gay man knows, it's to be hated, and often made to feel unwelcome. I remain steadfast, waiting for my partner amongst the unease of my fellow waiting room occupants. I continue to write about this experience in real time. Strange occupants in the waiting room begin to hum and murmur alongside the soft rock playing on an oversized wall-mounted television. So now no one really wants to be here, even more. This, along with the tapping of feet and nervousness among those seated in the waiting room, tells me a lot about the people around me's level of insecurity in this environment. I don't blame them. We all have our own versions of stimming, and I think that's what happens to everyone at some point in a situation of concern relating to their own and or their own partner's health and future. I feel the energy of the people here as supporters. Some are quite attentive and loving, while others, mostly it appears the cishet men, are mentally and emotionally not fully present. I love the absolute fuck out of my partner. I can't relate to that because I don't know what it's like to not be totally consumed by concern as I wait for my partner at this point. The medical waiting room song playlist. Here are a few I was able to write down during the latter part of my visit with a few observations. All by myself. I wouldn't have picked this song because it's a terrible selection for the moment. My Endless Love, not the time or the place. Live to Tell the Tale, overtly a dramatic pick for the hospital waiting room. That's Just the Way It Is, depressing. Piano Man, The First Cut is the Deepest, ew. Secret Lovers, not waiting room appropriate. She's gone. Not cool at all. With confidence, I say this waiting room playlist sucks. Think of where the fuck we are, people. Just think. When soft rock isn't playing on screen, it's political ads. Even here in the hospital waiting room, we are force-fed political propaganda of identity politics in between the strange music selections. In this environment, no one cares about politics. It's not the time or the place. Until we get universal health care for all occupants of this country, I wish they'd just shut the damn TV off, because none of those politicians care about these moments of health concern that my partner and I, along with millions and millions of others in this country, face. Next up, the audacity. A white cis-het man walks in and states that they have a cold. Get the fuck out of here, you dumb fuck. Right before all of these people's procedures and around all of us caregivers, how fucking inconsiderate of health and well-being of others. When you yourself are in a waiting room like this, as in any other room in life, just be fucking aware. Be considerate. Be respectful. Stay the fuck home if you have a cold, because that's being a good ally to everyone. But let's dive deeper into this behavior of cishet in the room near me. There's the manspreading of the immature man seated next to me in what seems to be a poor attempt to assert dominance. We're in a medical room. This power trip of yours is unnecessary here and elsewhere. It's nice if you can refrain from deliberately encroaching on my space by staying within your own chair. It's the fragile cishet male egos on full display when you're visibly gay in the waiting room. I digress. Another observation. I see the cis straight men, when called in for their appointments, do not acknowledge, kiss, hug, or even say goodbye to their partners before walking away with the nurse. Those small, intimate communications that don't occur in this environment communicate something much larger to me. As an AFAB person, I sense the disappointment of their partners not receiving affection and feeling disconnected. I can feel the loneliness they feel in their relationships at that moment. It's heartbreaking. Those ladies deserve better. My partner and I are not married, so when we go into a medical facility, we avoid PDA to avoid any potential discrimination preemptively. We shouldn't have to feel this way, and we shouldn't have to live this way. The sad thing is that the straight couples actually don't have to live that way. But your men choose that for you. Your cis-het male partners could absolutely provide some form of affection, and you all would not have to fear for being discriminated against for it. Still, they fail to do so, and maybe it's because it's not in their heart truly, or maybe it's because they've just been so damn spoiled and privileged their entire lives that they think women will tolerate less and less from them in terms of emotional awareness. To me, that's exactly way sadder than how my partner and I have been made to feel that we should have to act to avoid drama, hate, and or discrimination in the waiting room. We'd actually like to hold hands, to hug and to kiss each other openly, and to not have one of us feel like it's safer for us to be introduced solely as the driver. Being cishet, not incurring homophobia, and then not making any affectionate gesture before going into a procedure, I'm not impressed with how I see many cishet men treat their partners. Then it's back to the political ads that return to the waiting room video screen. More people enter the waiting room as attendee numbers fluctuate throughout the morning. I've got about another 30 minutes to wait. I think more and more. Maybe the waiting room is a metaphor for life. Maybe Earth is our waiting room for something better. It has to get better than this, right? Again, the woman in the corner starts to murmur along with the soft rock as I remain in the fresh hell of what it is to be gay and transgender in this waiting room. Professional courtesy is only extended to cis-het couples. Throughout my morning here in the medical waiting room, I notice a pattern of differential treatment. The straight partners, drivers, are asked to confirm their phone numbers verbally. I guess that's a professional courtesy extended only to male/female couples, as no one from the administrative team at that office spoke to me about quality assurance. Equal treatment in healthcare would be nice. However, that's something I'd have to have a conversation with those cishet couples about, because as one half of a gay couple, that's not been my lived experience when being in the waiting room, waiting for my partner. We are almost at the home stretch here when an occurrence I found heartbreaking happened. A nurse led a patient out of the medical office and into the waiting room after her procedure. The patient then asked where her daughter was. She informed the nurse that her daughter said she would pick her up, but the daughter did not show up. The nurse reassured the patient that she had spoken with the daughter and that the daughter was coming. The nurse helped her to her seat and then went right back into the doctor's office, leaving the patient seated, waiting for her caregiver. The thing is, the daughter wasn't there when her mom needed and expected her to be. The disappointment in the mom's voice when speaking to the nurse broke my fucking heart. The daughter showed up about 10 minutes later, and then they left. The difference here is that my word is my bond. I told my partner I would be there, so when he opened the door, I positioned myself strategically so I was literally the first person he saw because I didn't want him to experience that kind of emotional disappointment and confusion. As my partner, he never will. It was so sad to see that on display. My heart goes out to that lady. I then received a phone call from a nurse saying my partner would be out in about 15 minutes. Nearing the end of my experience, a couple of minutes before my partner was free to leave, a new straight couple checked in. There were not enough seats together, but one off to the side and in the back. As the woman sat down next to me, I looked up, I smiled, I told her partner, "Hey, you can sit here." He said thank you, appearing very shocked that anyone would do that. And that right there makes me sad for a few reasons. I've learned what I often consider common sense in etiquette, others may not. We are all living and functioning on our own levels of awareness. I hope one day, should any of my fellow waiting room occupants find themselves in a situation where a gay couple would like to sit next to each other to support one another, that this gesture is extended to them as well.